Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining this session tonight. We're just giving everybody a chance to join. So we're going to be starting probably at about 6:05. So if you just get comfy, grab yourself some water, and we'll get started in a few minutes. Thank you.
Good afternoon, good evening. We are about to start the webinar. I think we've got some people trying to still get into the system. So our team, if you could please help anyone that has questions, but we'll go ahead and start. Good afternoon, Alison. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you, Tracy. How are you?
I'm well, thanks. Dr. Kosterman, welcome to the call. You're muted.
So close. Hello, everyone. So close.
So we want to thank you all for joining us today. There's a couple of things that we want to cover, not the least of which is our special guest. We're going to introduce him in just a minute. But we want to cover new products and single practitioner practices and helping create an opportunity for additional revenue for those of you that have a private practice that want to see more revenue into 2024. And to do that, we have a good friend of ours, Dr. Bart Rademacher. Dr. Rademacher is one of our remote clinics. He and I have been working alongside one another for about 7 months now, helping him expand his practice. And we're actually going to have him speak to all of you a little bit about what he does and how he does it. But Alison also has a presentation that she will be bringing up at some point, and then Dr. Kosterman will address any clinical questions, as I am not a doctor. I do play one on television, but I am not a doctor. And Dr. Koshman will answer any questions relative to testing, efficacy, and any of the functional parts of your practice. So we're going to go ahead and hop right in. Can we promote Dr. Rademacher to the screen, Julius, please? Good evening. How are you?
Good evening. How are you, Tracy?
I'm well, thanks. I'm well. How are you? I hear you're on vacation.
No, I'm actually at a Tony Robbins event. I'm leading
Oh,
the medical
nice.
team. Yep.
Oh, nice. Good for you. That's awesome. So, doctor, can you tell everybody a little bit about your practice, your background, and what you do?
All right. So I'm actually a plastic and reconstructive surgeon. I've been in practice for the last 25 years. But my mission over the last 10 years is really to support our colleagues out there that are struggling in their businesses. You know, there's an onslaught of challenges in running the business. And, you know, doctors just oftentimes just don't have that bandwidth to figure out what they can actually do. And so I've created that solve. And what's exciting about the DNA company is that that's the first solve that we as physicians always can count on and must count on, simply because of this, is that the information that they give is invaluable for our ability to take care of our patients, number one. In my practice, I'm not even going to start on any health journey unless I have that DNA information. But the other beauty about all of this, and what's exciting about what the DNA company is doing, is they're making it super easy for us to implement. And that's been one of the major thresholds, you know, why doctors aren't implementing all these brilliant things that are out there, because it's too hard, it's too costly. Now, basically, minimum setup costs or no setup costs, and then a whole team that's supporting you in the entire process. So basically, all I do is get a patient excited, making sure they understand the value and why it's absolutely vitally important that they get this. And guess what? The DNA company takes over. And in the meantime, we're still making money. So that's, for me, an absolute no-brainer when it comes to, you know, helping our own business thrive outside of the constraints of, you know, typical regulatory institutions and everything else.
Yeah. You know, when you and I first started talking, one of the concerns was, how do we basically multiply you, right? How can we get more revenue in without you spending a whole lot of money out of your pocket and having to really front load your practice?
Right.
And that was really why we created this model around working with you. While I have done this before in other companies that I've owned and merged into the DNA company, you were my first DNA based practitioner. And I think one of the things that I've heard from your patients specifically is that they feel like they have a jump off point, if you will, a foundation to start from. You know they don't feel well, or they know they've got a challenge, or they're not quite sure this and they're not quite sure that. But when you put them through that testing, and then we come back and provide that report, and either we do the debrief for them or you do, it really depends on you and your patient load, we're able to help expand your outreach without drawing you away from the other parts of your practice where you're building your following in your podcast, which I think is really important. In fact, someone put the podcast name in the chat window for everybody, please. And I think that's important for practitioners to have as a resource so that they can learn more about growing that business and becoming more successful. You know, there's no shame as a doctor in making money, right? But we know that doctors generally notoriously are not great at business. They're great at healing people. They're great at changing lives and saving lives. But when it comes to their own financial wellness, they're really so spread out because they're the source of all of their business, right? And that's really hard when you've got one person and you want to spend time with your patients, like I know you do. You spend more than the requisite 7 minutes that a lot of practitioners get to spend, because if they don't do it in that way, they're not making the kind of money that they need to really sustain themselves, sustain their community, and their own financial well-being.
No, that's really well said, and essentially an extension of my practice, and a very trusted extension, because your team has the knowledge to be able to fully educate my clients. I call them clients, I don't call them patients anymore. And what's exciting then is that all I need to do is kind of listen in whenever it's necessary, and then just also add any of the things that I think are relevant at that time. So again, I mean, you absolutely lowered the threshold for us to begin to implement a very important practice that will absolutely add so much value. And you talk about, time. Time is valued, but also on the client side. And so
Right.
they need this kind of information to actually improve their health. And anything, if anything, whatever specialty a doctor is in, doesn't matter what specialty it is, I reach out to all doctors. This is the absolute first thing that anybody wants to implement. And then it's also a beautiful revenue model. I mean, really seriously can help the bottom line.
Absolutely. So, Dr. Rademacher, I know that you have to hop off, so I'm going to go ahead and have Alison start talking a little bit about the program. And Alison, why don't you tell everybody who you are and what you do here?
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for joining us, Dr. Rademacher. I've enjoyed working with you, over the course of our encounter. So thanks again for supporting us. And I just thought it would be great to have your opinion as an outside person. This is obviously a new concept that we're bringing forth this evening, just to let everybody understand what it is that we've been working on behind the scenes. So my name is Alison Henry, and I am now the VP of Global Sales and Expansion. So this is kind of, like I said, one of the things that I'm really excited to be working on now. And this has been my baby the last few months, is just really figuring out how we can add additional value to practitioners, right? So over the course of my time at the DNA company, like I've worked with a lot of different doctors, practitioners, different types of clinicians. So really bringing all of that experience in talking with you all day to day, and, understanding the struggles that you face and whatnot, and trying to come up with a way that we can, impact our patient outcomes and really just get this information into, the hands of as many people as we can, right? So that's kind of where this all stemmed from. And now, of course, my controls stop working as soon as I'm trying to present. So give me 1 second here, sorry.
All right.
Yeah, so again, the remote clinic concept, like Tracy mentioned, is, when I'm talking to new practitioners that we're onboarding, you guys have to be everything and do all things, right? When you're launching a business. So the model that we have here is just a way, like we're not taking away from what you want to focus on, right? Each clinician that I've ever encountered and that I've had the opportunity to onboard, you guys are passionate about lots of different things, right? And you want to specialize and give your patients the best care possible. Okay, so we understand that it's hard for you to do everything, and to really get your business up and running, it takes a lot of man hours, a lot of planning. You have to be, like I said, a doctor, marketing, accounting, all of these things to get yourself to a place where you're profitable and you're earning money and you're helping people, right? But with our remote clinic, you get access to everything that we've already built through our virtual clinic, right? And so we are giving you the opportunity to, like Bart's done, and a few other people, just kind of come alongside us and leverage our expertise, right? So people like Dr. Kosterman and our other in-house clinicians, they've been working with people that are interested in learning how their genome can really give them the answers that maybe they've been missing, right? So we've we've done this through our DNA blueprint programs. And one thing that I want to kind of maybe chat about before we get into it too much further is just realizing that this is for everyone. It's not clients that are coming to us, they all have different needs, they all have different health goals, they all have different financial abilities, right? And so we've designed this suite of programs to really allow everyone to benefit from their genetic blueprint and from, you know, our in-house clinicians that can give them a tailored program to overcome whatever it is that, you know, they're faced with, right? So the living program would be the first kind of starting point for people that are exploring functional genomics. They're curious about maybe what they'll find out about themselves, or maybe they've already, you know, got a health concern that they're looking to really get into and understand on a deeper level, right? The lifestyle option, again, we'll go through these in more detail in just a few minutes, but the lifestyle option is then for people that are stuck on something and they know that it takes a full body approach, that all of the systems are connected and they really need a complete look at everything to get to the bottom of their challenge, to optimize their health, to really achieve their goal, right? And that's the thing, right? We're not telling you what this program is for every single encounter. We're letting you, the patient, sorry, tell us what matters to them, and then we're tailoring it from there. You know, the thing that, again, I'm not a practitioner either, but the thing I've enjoyed is just seeing how the company has evolved and how we've developed in the year and a few months that I've been here. And then longevity, last but not least, is, you know, for people that have maybe more complex cases, they need to be a bit more investigative. They want more data to help tailor their plan. And, you know, we have additional testing that we're going to be talking about as well that will be included in those options. So like I said, my controls aren't working, so we're doing this the old-fashioned way here. Yeah, so as Bart mentioned, and as we all know, we need to start with the DNA, right? So every single program, no matter what option we're looking at, starts with a DNA test, right? We need to understand your blueprint, what your body's capabilities are, before we can start to think about how to go about making adjustments, right? And so that's the starting point for every single one of these programs. Then we need to understand you as a person, right? So the patient, rather, I'm sorry, I'm used to talking to speaking to this from a patient perspective. So your patients have a need. They've come to you with a concern. So we want to assess that and understand, right? And to do that, we need the support team, and that's what comes with this package, right? Is we have a team of dedicated concierges that work with each one of the clients as they come into these programs to understand, okay, what is it that you hope to achieve? Who is the best practitioner that can help you get there, right? Do you need a focus on nutrition, on you know, exercise? Do you need somebody that specializes in hormone health, etc., right? So we really do want to be able to personalize that outcome for people and assess the best fit. And then we also know that what the practitioners are putting into action with you, and the insights that you're getting from these programs as a client, that's where the power is, right? So that's supported by supplements. So each program starts with testing. Patients get the support of, our whole team as they go through the program, and then they all include supplements as well, which we will outline some of the changes on the supplement line shortly. So just to quickly go through, we have our retail pricing available. Obviously, that's what's being shown here today for everyone. So living, starting off, like I said, you're getting the lay of the land, a good understanding of, what genomics can do for, a health journey, right? For understanding the best way to proceed. And when you work with our team, we can help assess this with a client. So you will work with a dedicated support person that will meet with your clients one-on-one. Like Bart said, it works really well if you have a good understanding of what it is that we're doing, and then you can, help kind of guide them with the option that will work the best for them. So the big package here at the end is kind of where we're going to spend a little bit of time, and that's because there's a lot more that goes into this. So the DNA test is going to be the foundation. But then when we get into the more complex cases, or people that, are health enthusiasts, they're looking to optimize, they're looking to consider how they're aging and having healthy years as they get older rather than just extending their life, right? That's where this option becomes really powerful, and it's because we've got some new products that are embedded into the program, but that you as a practitioner would also be able to sell through our wholesale program. And we're going to get into those now. So, and then I'm going to go into the numbers with you and talk more about the support and what that looks like. So Krista, if I can just kind of get you to jump in here, and we'll go over just the testing. If you don't mind just speaking to the clinical benefit of having that data and how some of that information may be used as you guys work with patients that are enrolled, that would be great.
Yeah, with pleasure. So I'm seeing we'll start on the DNA 360. So the core of our testing. This is a kit that will go to your client, and effectively it's a saliva sample that they will be collecting. So no serum, no needles for this. Very applicable to younger populations as well. And once we process that through our lab, we are looking at a collection of genes from a functional perspective. So in return, you will be getting or the client will be seeing 7 different reports. So that will span mood behavior or executive function. It will span sleep, cardiovascular, diet and nutrition, sex steroid hormones, longevity, and lastly, there's another one. Detox, our most famous one, our most infamous one, inflammation and detox. So according to those 7 different reports, you're going to have, from a functional perspective, how that person's genome supports their well-being. Okay, specific to you, their clinician, you will also receive a clinician version. So a little bit of a summarized version, so you don't have to dig through it all, something that summarizes it all for you, that will report along what's up, what have we analyzed, what are the green flags or red flags within the person's genome, but in particular for the red flags, what can you do about it? Okay. And then Ali, I guess if you want to move on to other testing that we have, or I can, here we go, DNA aging, a new jewel to our crown. So The last test that I spoke about, the DNA 360, looks at a person's genome, namely, what is their core scripting? And if they were, a person that lived in a bubble and there were no environmental or other parameters influencing their health, that would play out perfectly. But we all know that people have different environmental exposures, different life histories, different medical histories. All of this culminate to change the expression, to increase expression of some genes, to silence others, right? So we know that their genome is not being played out as if they live in this protected little bubble. So what de-aging looks to do is it actually engages or it analyzes various methylation patterns, so epigenetic patterns atop the DNA that speak to how is their genome being expressed. Okay, so for example, we always like to say your genome is not fatalistic. You're not doomed to whatever your genes say. Diet, lifestyle, etc., will impact that expression. And this test goes to the end of figuring out what that expression is. It will report along many different metrics, an overall, what is your overall biologic age, as in how old does your body think it is, compared to your chronologic, how old does a calendar think you are, alongside other parameters of immune wellness, other parameters of blood sugar wellness. There's several different insights that this test will offer to say, not only do we know the scripting of your genes, right? We additionally know how that's playing out. And from a clinician perspective, this is a beautiful test. Within the longevity program, we offer two, so that once, when you start a program, your baseline, and then 6 to 12 months later, based on the condition, we'll suggest how long, you take that again, and you can see what the positive work that you've been doing with your client or that we've been doing with this person, how that's paying off. It's a very neat thing, a very neat intangible marker to go through. All right, Holly, I'll let you go.
Sorry, I just want to interrupt. I'll come back to this one after Krista, because it isn't actually part of the program, but it's a really good thing that can be added. So we'll do the gut first. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so gut 360. We all know that, if we're to take more of both the philosophers and a truthful view of the body, we are more microbes, viruses, and other little tiny critters than we are people. And so the gut 360 is endeavoring to look into the microbiome of our body and support insight into, we know your genes, we maybe know some inflammatory markers. Now what's going on in the gut, what is curating that beautiful interface of body and world that speaks to immune function, mental health, right? Speaks to digestive capacity, absorption capacity. So through this testing, it reports along what are the biome patterns present and how does that correlate to specific health outcomes, right? That's the goal. We're no longer looking what species is high and what isn't. We're not looking at one-offs anymore. We're looking at patterns and how that translates into various health outcomes. Alongside this, we'll also report on, we know that our microbiome is symbiotic and it supports the creation of short-chain fatty acids and B vitamins and things of that nature. So also taking a quick litmus test as to between diet and the biome, how's that coming along for you?
Thank you, Dr. Kosterman. Yeah, so if you could also just speak now briefly on this test, just bearing in mind that some of these things are new, and this is going to be built upon, right? So we will be putting together some material for training purposes that will be shared with providers and practitioners that are using the testing externally, as well as obviously our team of in-house clinicians will be well-versed on all of these testing and products. So thank you, Dr. Kosterman.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so the bird's eye view of what is Liquid B. So I'm sure many people have heard about liquid biopsies, and Liquid B is our offering of this. So a liquid biopsy, most people have heard biopsy in the context of, you take a quick measurement of an organ by taking a sample and figuring out what's what. This is a less invasive, as well as, I would also say, proactive way. It's a serum sample, and this will scan the serum sample for evidence of cancerous processes, right? So I think traditionally when people think of cancer, they think of a very binary thing. You have it or you don't, right? There are very, very, very few instances where cancer appears overnight. Typically, there's a long lead up to it. And so what liquid biopsy endeavors to do is to take a sample and understand what is going on in the body. Are there any emergences of things that we know to be cancer, and at what stage? What is the current body burden? I want to be very specific. This is not a diagnostic test, right? This will not say yes or no, you do or do not have cancer, but it is a screening tool. And it can guide further investigation, as well as it is an element should a person unfortunately get that diagnosis. It is one of the things, not the sole thing, but one of the things that can direct treatment. So this is not a test that we would be giving to you and saying, have fun, good luck. We would work in conjunction with our medical team to support you both in the interpretation and the next steps around it. So don't feel like you have to become an armchair oncologist for this, but it is a very powerful and strong offering, because many people come to us, with that medical history of, within my family, there is the big C word. What do I do about it? And that's part of the, what do you do about it from a preventative perspective?
Thank you very much, Doctor. That was a great explanation.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Kosterman. Yeah, and just to reiterate, there will be additional information on all of these new products. If this is all news to you, we hope that it excites you, because the insights that we gain from also seeing the data on the present is an important part of the equation, if I can just say from my perspective. So Dr. Kosterman will be available for questions as well, if there are any, and you guys want to start getting your questions in the Q&A, please feel free to do that, as we'll be transitioning into questions in a few moments. So I'm just going to continue just with really outlining what the remote clinic looks like. Okay, so as I mentioned, we are going to work with you and enhance what you're already doing. So you have a specialty, there's something that you're passionate about, but you get all types of people that come to you, right? So that's really where this fits in well. It's like, we want to support that and to give you opportunities to duplicate yourself and to grow your revenue, right? So by joining us in the remote clinic, we will give you that support. We already have a brand, we have a team of in-house clinicians, we have the concierge people. So we can take that client experience from the first interaction, where we give them the information and help them find the program that suits all of their requirements, meets their health goals, aligns with their financial abilities, etc. Right? We do all of the paperwork, the patient agreements, we take payment, and we see it through from start to finish. You can be a part of the process as much or as little as you want, right? So we can structure things based on you as well, and how you see your patient relationship being managed. The support team is generally going to be structured so that you just make the introduction, and then, like I said, we take over from there. The compensation structure is probably something that is going to be where you guys will benefit the most from. So knowing that the patient is being taken care of, that we have these programs really designed to address the needs of people. And the in-house team also, I want to kind of mention, we have a wide variety of practitioners, right? Like Dr. Kosterman is a naturopathic doctor. So that might be of interest to you guys as well, is just understanding that if you're focusing on nutrition and weight loss and you're successful in that area, but you have patients that come to you with other needs, then, you know, we have the team that can address their concerns, right? And obviously with the focus on functional genomics and really using that foundation to kind of guide this, it's really quite powerful. So what we're doing on the revenue side is we will fulfill everything, right? We ship the kit, we take care of the clinical encounters, the supplements, everything that's included in the programs that are all outlined and clearly defined for people. We take care of fulfilling all of that for you. And we work with the client throughout that program duration. And then for people that have completed their programs, we will then be sharing based on which option they've chosen, right? So this is just like a little bit of a snapshot for you. And Tracy, I think this is where you and your kind of philosophy on everything kind of comes into play, is like, I can only generate so much revenue myself. I'm one person, there's only so many hours in the day, right? So this allows you to know that you have a partner that has a well-established clinic that you're utilizing, and you're sorry, I need your help here, Tracy.
Let me hop in with you, Alec. So
thank you.
So to speak to kind of encapsulate everything that Alison has just said, the long and the short of it, this is designed to give you a turnkey solution, right? So what does that look like for you as a practitioner? If you're a single or a one or two practitioner group, right? And you can tell Allie and I are both Scots because we end every sentence with the word right, and I have to be mindful of that, but it's all right. I'm not mad at you. So I'm going to go back and do it again. So we create an environment where all you have to do is hand off that client or patient, whatever it is that you call them, and none of you essentially are in sales, right? You are healers, you are healthcare providers. Your approach to a person is very different than Alison's approach to somebody. So it allows you to have that person in your practice that you can say to a patient, listen, I know you want to do some work with your genetics. We've got a great idea for you, but let me have you talk to Alison. She is our subject matter expert. They don't need to necessarily feel that separation between your practice and our practice. That's the whole point of being that remote clinic. We become part of you. So that's the goal for the type of handoff that we would encourage. And again, Alison's going to meet that patient. I'm going to call them patients because we have episodic care here, and I call them all patients. So we're going to meet that patient where they are, right? When they come in, there's going to be a dialogue and a sorting process for us to really hone in on what they're looking for. So if somebody wants to, become a stronger athlete, maybe they're a biohacker, maybe they're really into this space, and they just want to find whatever that next edge is. We're going to ask questions consistent with that, drop them in with a practitioner that's going to be able to speak in that terminology to them and know all of those latest gadgets and all of the jumpstart your car with crystals thing. Now, you may have a patient that is chronically ill. Maybe you have somebody that's medically complicated and is a multiple medical diagnosis patient. That person may be a better fit into one of the longer programs for, if nothing else, real change in their life. So that, again, that's where Alison sits with that person and says, listen, let's talk about all of your stuff. And the patient can share that information, and Alison can say, well, these two programs work for you. You're doing none of this as a practitioner, and you don't have to do any of it. The patient still belongs to you. We do not then own your patient. That patient belongs to you. It's denoted in the electronic medical record system, EMR, and I am going to use abbreviations, so be ready. There's a test at the end of this. So in the EMR, we're going to denote, hey, this belongs to Dr. Rademacher, this belongs to Dr. Kosterman. So we are very mindful to circle those people back into your practice, keeping that connected tissue between you and them. Again, we're an extension of you. So if you send, 10 patients in, I think that Dr. Rademacher did 10 or 12 patients in his first month. I mean, he got a check for $25,000. He didn't have to do anything. He just sent us those people. We went through and said, hey, where is your fit? This is not, a timeshare sales conversation. This is where do you fit? What are you looking for? How can we support you conversation with these patients? And then at that point, that patient says, listen, this feels authentic to me, or this feels like the best fit for me. And our response is no problem. Let us process this for you. We'll do all of this for you. And then once you're finished in your program, we're going to circle you back to your practitioner, and your practitioner can monitor your progress every step of the way. So each of you will be given, you'll have multiple things in the escalation chart. You'll have a clinical support staff member. You will have, of course, your sales point of contact, who is Alison. You'll have a concierge based on last name of the alphabet for each of the patients. So there's a lot of back end that comes with this. One good thing to know is when we create these agreements with people, we give them a full written list of what they get. And we set that expectation right up front. So they can't turn around and come back and say, well, I want my money back because you guys didn't do a great job, and then start to have that negative interaction with you. We build in all of these protections for you and your practice in this model, and it's working, and it's working very well. So that's really what we do. There are two levels above this. One of them is a hybrid white label. One of them is a franchise. If any of you have any questions relative to that, Alison and I can sit and have another conversation with you. We also can support webinars, podcasts, things like that for you and the people in your practice to help you with your outreach, to help you with your messaging. So I think that this kind of concludes the conversation around money, how it works. Some of the questions we get, how long does it take to get started? Less than 20, 30 days. We want to understand who you are, what you do, how you do it, what your rules are. Do you have products that you absolutely will not support or discuss with a patient? Whatever that is, we build that into your profile so that we don't start offering something that you may say, listen, I've not had good luck with that. I don't want my people seeing that product. I don't want them talking about it. So again, we are an extension of you. Our goal is to help you do a couple of things. One, patient efficacy. Patients come first. There is nothing more important to us than the actual health and wellness of the people in our community. That's our first priority. Our second priority is the health and wellness of our practitioners, making sure your clinic is healthy, making sure that you're making money, and that you're not extending yourself like so many practitioners before you have done by trying to build it and pay for the OPEX and all of the other logistical nightmares that come with a practice, especially here in the United States. So those are really our two areas of focus. And of course, we want to contribute to the greater good. We are all here in our roles at the DNA company because we all have a why. And something matters to every one of us. So we get to extend that to you. We get to share that with you, and we get to do it on your behalf. So that's really what we're doing. That's how we're doing it. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it, Alison. I think we have
Thank you,
questions.
Tracy.
You're welcome, honey. We have questions. Let's see. Does this include the certification and mastery program? So no, it does not. If you want the certification and mastery program, I think one of them was $29.99, the other one's $19.99. We have some type of a bundle that I think we discontinued a couple weeks ago. I will kick that back in for each of you. If you want to do that, contact Alison. Alison, I'll let that run through the 15th of the month.
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah, so just to kind of add to that, I think it's a great question. So you're definitely more than welcome to take the certification and, you know, use that information with the patients and the clients that you interact with. The remote clinic, again, is just giving you access to more of you, right? To other providers that can represent you as your clinic grows, right? So that is really the goal here, is
And
for
Wanda
you
has a
as the
great question. Wanda has a great, you were just touching on this, Ellen. Wanda has a great question. How do we present this to our patients? We do it. Alison does it. If your patient wants to have their genetics done, that's a conversation you guys are having organically, right? Patient comes in, you can say to them, listen, we're doing some great testing. I think this would benefit you. And once they've done that test, or if they want to have a further in-depth conversation about that, that's when that would be handed off and Alison would drive the bus from there.
Yeah, and then the other thing also that is included in all of the programs is the supplements, right? So Krista, I wanted to maybe get your take on that, because we're doing some different things with the supplement line again as we continue to expand. So if you don't mind just sharing a little bit about that.
Yeah, so historically at DNA Company, we've approached, or at least what we in the past 2 years have approached supplements as, is similar to a health food store insofar as you can walk in and you can take a bottle off the shelf that addresses, and we created a few formulas that were very specific to genomic issues that we consistently saw. But as championed by our Chief Innovation Officer, Dr. Bryce Wild, we are being a little bit more innovative, as well as patient forward, patient centric, personalized on this front, insofar as we are now offering a line of completely customized supplements. And I would offer it's customized in two very marked ways. So first way is obviously as we take in their genomic information and as we sit with them and as we hear their concerns, we hear about what they're working on from a health perspective. The supplement is formulated specific to that, right? To what they care about, to their genomic weak points, to what they're working on. So it is directed to what they want to be doing. Furthermore to that, and this is very important, and what should give people pause when they're saying, hey, that supplement on that shelf, is we're also taking into consideration other anthropomorphic figures. So we're asking age, we're asking various metabolic rate parameters. Just tell us a little bit about that person, because we know that the 5 foot nothing 100-pound girl has a very different metabolic need than our 6 foot big football player. I'm trying to think of extremes here, but when you have two different bodies at two different age and health points in their life, they have different needs. And so we don't want to be under or over dosing based on that. So the new Black line, it's called Black Label. Our new Black Label is completely custom. It is being offered within all of our programs. And the goal is, at the end of those clinical visits, the practitioner is able to take a step back and say, well, I know that this person is working on this concern, right? Here's what their genes tell me. Here's their formulation. So instead of them reaching for several different bottles that are kind of only partially tailored to them, they're reaching for one bottle and they take one, might be divided between several caps, but they're effectively taking one dosing of that per day. Okay, so that's a little bit of new innovation that we're offering. It's right now, or it will be offered exclusively within programs, but come the turn of the year, and I'll allow Ali and Tracy to announce and kind of offer the how-tos, but at the turn of the year, it will also be offered to clinicians, such that through your practices, if you want to be custom compounding supplements for your patients, right, you can work with our infrastructure and our technologies to get you there, so that you can have something that is custom made for your clients.
Excellent. Thank you, Doctor.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys have any
Yeah.
other questions for us? If you do, please drop them in the Q&A box. Alison?
Okay, we're getting some action here now. So Krista, I think this next one will be your insight, but from Susan, do the personalized supplements ever contain probiotics? What happens if the supplement compounds are not to be taken together at the same time? That sort of thing.
Yeah. So these supplements can contain probiotics if that's something that you wanted mixed in. In regards to do we force your custom compound to be within one thing? So if there's competing substances, or for example, they have a daytime formula and separate to that, you want to give them some nighttime support, it can be divided so that there's a daytime formula and then something for night. We're not going to give your client nighttime herbs in the middle of the day. So as needed, as guided. So for example, omegas, we're not going to mix those in. That's an oil. That's not going in with all our powders, right? But as curated by what exactly the goal is, it may be divided up, right? But the goal is, again, it's trying to take several different bottles off the shelf and put it into one, maybe 2 or 3 bottles, again, depending on the person's clinical goals.
Excellent, Doctor. Thank you very much. Arlene asks if we will get reports after each visit as to what the supplementation recommendations are. Also, will the DNA clinicians collaborate regarding what they have recommended for the patients? Absolutely. That's the whole point of being a remote clinic, right, Arlene? So the goal is for us to, 1, progress note everything, which you will all have access to, and 2, collaborate with you. That's why it's important that we indicate whose clinic each patient belongs to. And so we manage it all very clearly in the EMR. So that would be something that we would also train one of your people in, whether it was you, whether it was an administrative person in your facility, we would train them on that resource so that they could use it. Wanda wants to know who compounds your supplements? Dr. Kosterman.
So at present, we're engaged with 2 different compounders, one on the Canadian side, one on the American side of the border. And
I think the NDA precludes us from saying anything beyond that, but they are compounded in each country.
I'm going to offer one other thing. So just so as a clinician, what I care about is, the who, but really the how. What is their integrity? What are they compounding? What are they using? And in-house, our Dr. Wild, who is a foremost expert in this space, has screened these spaces both for how they're going about it, right, from a cleanliness and regulatory perspective, but also, are the supplements they using the ones that are fleshed out in research, right? So that you're getting the best of the best. This is not a substitute product. You're getting what has been actually researched. So when you recommend something, it's not a substitute and you're like hoping it does the same job as the researched product. It actually is the research product, and there can be scientific rigor and claims behind it. Okay, so that diligence has been done. Okay, we don't mess around when it comes to this stuff. Offering medicine is a sacred act. We take that with the utmost importance and integrity.
Excellent, Dr. Koshman. Thank you very much. How many doctors are enrolled? Again, I merged my entity in with the DNA company back in December of last year and the first part of this year. I have over 18 staff contributors, and I have dozens of remote clinics all across both the United States, South Africa, and different pockets of Europe. Dr. Rademacher is our DNA beta here in the United States that included the genetics component and all of the product that came with that. Are the supplements sourced from organic only sources? Dr. Kosterman, it's above my pay grade.
We say that. The long and the short of that is we host or we endeavor to offer supplements that are free from. So taking it a step beyond just the organics of it, is it free of certain preservatives, additives? How is the equipment cleaned, right? There's a lot of different elements that go, I would offer beyond just the concept of, is it organic? Okay. And so anytime that something's put into your supplement, like there's an exhaustive list of things that you can add in. And I would be lying if I said absolutely everything was. But within that list, it's very specific, and you can require and request that any plants be organic. So you do have that control. Okay.
Excellent. Thank you, Doctor. Okay. Do we have any other questions? We do. Hi, I'm new here. Hello. Is the training you speak of regarding training for clinicians? Yeah. Okay. So we could, Alison, I think this is probably a you question.
Yeah, okay, perfect. So I do actually like this question because I think it is important to distinguish that the training that we have to become a functional genomics practitioner can be for you as a clinician to help in what you're already doing with your patients, right? It gives you a really good understanding of our testing, as in the DNA test, and the reports that the clients have access to and that information. A good understanding of the genes that are, influencing our biological systems, and the knowledge that you can then take to design your protocols with, right? It also is going to give you a foundation so that if you do want to work under the remote clinic model, again, what sets that strategy and what sets genomics apart from just other types of programs that are out there, right? So when you're speaking to your clients, when people are coming to you, you are able to, guide them and start the process as you work with us in kind of tailoring the best options and which option specifically is best for your clients. So the training can be done for many different reasons. For the purpose of the remote clinic, we don't require you to take the training. That's not a requirement. Like Tracy said, we are just an extension of you. We have the clinicians that are doing the work with the patients. So it's not a requirement.
I think to kind of piggyback to that for a quick second, I think what I would add to that is if you wish to be certified, we're happy to put you through that training course. Again, we'll honor the bundle that we discontinued, I think, in October. We will honor that opportunity for you. Once you are then fully trained, we can help you either one through a remote clinic or two to do an actual encounter with you so that you can check your own understanding against one of our practitioners just by being in our provider network. Hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, and I mean, without causing confusion, like this is, just, I don't think this is really the only option, right? I think it's been mentioned already previously, is like we've still got the wholesale provider account options. We still have the affiliate option. So we're just giving you another way to help your patients, to build your business. And this is something that we think is a really good fit for a lot of practitioners out there. So something to consider there.
Dr. Kosterman, how long is the functional genomic practitioner training?
Well, yeah. How many hours is a lovely question. It's
Approximately.
I think it's around 30 hours, maybe.
Okay, but it is self-paced, right?
It is self-paced. Yeah. And I think that's important, especially for those who maintain their own practice and are trying to do this in their off hours.
Excellent, thank you. Shelby asks, are you able to use the information in the remote clinic for your patients if you're certified and pay the licensing fees? Yes, ma'am. And we will send you raw copies so that you can brand it for yourself. Affiliate option versus remote clinic, what's the basic difference? I don't know who sent that, but Alison, since you deal with the
Yeah.
affiliate option.
Yeah, so the affiliate option, just to be clear, is for practitioners that just want to sell the DNA test. You don't want to outlay any capital. You don't want to stock kits in your clinic. You're just offering a landing page that's branded for clients to click on and buy their own test. So that's the affiliate, very simply, is that you want to suggest that the DNA company test is a good option for people looking for insights into their genetics and to have access to their reports, right? Whereas the remote clinic is, again, similar concept that, you know, you believe in what it is that we're doing, but you're referring them to us to onboard into a program, right? So you've identified that that client has a health need that goes beyond just the reports and the information that's contained in it, and that there's a benefit to that client of working with a clinician, to having a personalized plan put together for them that they can, you know, really start to gain traction in their health journey. So that's hopefully a good way to explain the difference between the two options.
Excellent, Alison, thank you very much. Shelby has another question for you, Alison, about the affiliate program.
Okay, so for the affiliate program, is the landing page, I think that's supposed to be generic, or does it have
Yes.
your name? Yeah, so you can customize the landing page. If you're a licensed practitioner, you have the option to brand your landing page with your clinic name and your picture. We do have a template. So all of the information about the DNA test is going to be generic, but you will have your face and your brand on there. And then they click through to our website to actually execute the transaction, or you can just send them a link directly to the purchase page if you don't require a branded landing page. So there's a couple of different ways that the affiliate can be utilized. Also, I think it's important to clarify for the affiliate accounts and for practitioners using that, any patient that goes through an affiliate link or landing page receives a 10% affiliate discount when they check out. Okay, and then you're paid a commission based on the transaction total. Okay, so you don't need a special code. The system tags it automatically. And then you have a dashboard where you can log in and you can see who's purchasing and how many clicks, and you know, get a good insight into the activity that's happening there on your affiliate site.
Excellent. Do we have any other questions? You guys are so good and so quiet. That's so awesome. Here we go.
Okay.
Annual license fee. Is that pertaining to be an affiliate or a program? This is for the remote clinic offering.
And then Shelby again asking about assisting with the marketing. So yes, we do have some marketing assets that we can co-brand with you if that's how you would like to do it, or whatnot. So again, having a meeting with me to just really kind of fine tune the details is probably the best way to proceed. Again, we can customize exactly how the relationship works, and I can clarify for you what that looks like, right? So Some clinicians want to be more actively involved and really collaborate with our in-house practitioners. And then they want to take back over and monitor the progress, right? Other clinicians just want us to do what we do best and let our in-house clinicians take on the patient and go through everything. So that's part of the discussion, right? As we really roll this out with you.
Dr. Ernst has
Another
a question.
What is the latest update for the return time to receive the results from the DNA testing? Okay, so I think
I have the answer to that.
Sure, yeah, go ahead, Tracy. Thank you.
So once we receive the sample and have validated that it is a viable sample, we're generally turning around the results in 14 days.
Yeah, so that's a very, very detailed answer. So I appreciate that. It's important to know when you're setting expectations with clients, the countdown doesn't start when they pop it back in the mail.
Right.
There's a lot of room for time to lapse there, right? They left it in the back seat of their car for a couple days and they forgot, and then it slows things down. So.
And I think one of the important variables is that term viable sample. So if somebody has left it in their car for a couple of days and it gets sent in, it may take 2 days or so to figure out if that sample is still viable. And if it's not, then we can indicate such and then have to send replacement kits. But generally, from the time we know we have a solid sample, we can have those reports ready to load in 14 days. We're actually trying to close the gap on that a little further, but that's where we are today.
That's great. I'll keep going with the questions then.
I can address Shelby's question. Do you want to take that one first?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
So Shelby, there really isn't a management company per se that's doing what we're doing. We're doing this first. Again, we're bleeding edge on a functional interpretation of a genetic report, and we're going to continue to be bleeding edge on a lot of things. Our ideology as it relates to growing your practices and helping you actually make money is something that somebody else has not decided to do yet. So we decided to do it first. We wanted to expand our testing. We did that, again, to create more product for you to have in one place with one trusted resource. So we really are far in front on this, and we don't have anybody that's competing with us in that space.
Okay, and then Carrie, I will read the question, and then perhaps Dr. Kosterman can maybe speak to that. So for a salaried physiotherapist working for a hospital system, not private practice, and not necessarily looking to make money on this, but wanting to get some chronic pain patients tested for a deeper dive, what is the best method for guiding the patient?
I would say an affiliate arrangement would be more appropriate for this particular practitioner.
Yeah. Ellie, sorry, Ellie, do you have something to say before I offer thoughts?
No, go ahead, please.
No, I think I like, again, doctors don't do business. So if Tracy said affiliate, I trust that. But Carrie, I think it's so beautiful, the approach that you're having. So thank you for that, to kind of be seeking the wellness of your clients and recognizing that, the resources within a hospital system, not to speak poorly of them, but, there's resources outside of that. So I think an affiliate, like getting people in for testing, and then should the person find elements within their testing and they want that functional support, again, getting them into the programs, because I think that's where some of the magic can happen, insofar as they can say, here's my current health status. Right. And you can walk them with up to that point too, right? You can support them in kind of discerning what they want to be working on. Right. And then we can champion it from there and really support them in the not only understanding of how their genome is contributing to that pain picture, to that recovery picture, I would imagine as well. but what are the next steps? What can be done both in the short term with the practitioner and possibly in the longer term with you? So thank you for caring, and it'd be a privilege to support your patients through that. Yeah.
So Elaine is asking, when you purchase the certification program, does it come with your own report to learn, or is that purchased separately?
In the bundle that we offered, Alison, we did allow a kit for the participant, or the student rather. And so in that bundle of the $34.99, it is included.
Yes, that's right. So we have a lot of practitioners that have done the test and then they take the training. So there is a test included in the course, which you'll be offered at the end once you complete the certification. If you choose to use that for your first patient and sell that, or have a family member use it or whatnot, that is up to you. So, and then Mike has an interesting question here, Tracy. Okay, Dr. Kosterman.
Just a thought for practitioners who are going through the certification or thinking of offering this to their client. I highly recommend doing your own and going through that process of getting the information back. I think the humanity offered within that experience of receiving your results and having to hear them out, and that kind of experience of, you know, what does this say about me now or in the future, I think is very something that's important to share the humanity of that experience with your clients. And it also helps you anticipate what questions are they going to come in with, how are they going to receive it, how do you respond to that. I think there's a value add to experiencing that for yourself, not just the academics of learning it. So as Ali said, do what you will with the first test kit, but I'd really, really recommend that you go through this, you walk the walk. Yeah.
Mike has a question as it relates to Stark Law. Is a revenue sharing model violating Stark Law? We essentially become, by way of the agreement between the parties, essentially an affiliate or an outside partner of yours. So it's not a kickback. It's your patient, it's your revenue. Now, if it was a patient off the street and we were paying you to treat that patient, that would violate Stark Law, and anything over $60 is illegal in the United States. So we wouldn't even be able to furnish lunch. But this does not come under that category or that statute.
Excellent. I think we are getting close to answering all of the questions.
Another one. Dr. Kosterman, there's a question for you specifically.
All right. So the question is, which tests do you think that you start with? Or did the training include all of it? So I guess what test to start with? And start with the DNA 360, right? So get an idea of the person's blueprint. And I think atop of that can curate alongside what the patient is seeking to do, what care they're seeking. You know, that can maybe curate other tests, but start with the DNA 360. That's the core of our business, and that's, you know, that's a little bit our secret sauce, right? Looking into the hood, looking into the blueprint of a person, what is the possible within them and what needs support within them. Yeah.
Excellent. So Allison's email is in the chat window. Michael, if you would please put it up one more time. And if any of you have any additional questions, please connect with Alison directly. If you have any clinical questions, you can send them to the clinic support at thednacompany.com. And as long as we have no other questions, I think we're good. Thank you all for attending.
Au revoir.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you.